Alright, we're back. The Americas are getting destroyed. Australia is getting destroyed. Where in the world is not currently getting obliterated? Nowhere. That's the correct answer. Nowhere. The yellow team, poor yellow team. I'm gonna be honest, poor yellow team. They went from being the second strongest, third strongest nation in the world by an average of military and economy, and being the only nation in the world that could withstand the red team, to just becoming this. Even looking at their colonial empire, thankfully they kept this because no fighting happened in the colonial empire. But now this colonial empire doesn't even want to be a part of them because, like, why would you? The main country is destroyed. Their colony, if it was a country, would currently be better off than them themselves. So, like, why? Why would you want to be a part of this nation? Also, they're charging extreme taxes to the country because of one very particular fact. They need to pay off all the debt they got from the war. So we actually begin in Gran Colombia, where the nation, it annexes all of this. And this annexation of land kind of worries the yellow team, who's like, oh, hell no, I need land too. Here's the thing about that. Not happening. I'm sorry, not happening. That's just how it gotta be. Not happening this time. Why, you may be asking, is it not happening? One very, very good reason. It's not happening because uh the yellow team already had a war. They're not gonna be able to do this. So remember this British colony over here that only existed for British to have bragging rights that they have something in South America? It's trying to rebel and join the Gold Coast, which relations are tense between these two now. Over in Australia, the British, they actually sail across the world and colonize all of New Zealand, except for that island. I don't know why I said over in Australia, because that isn't a part of Australia. Back over here, the Mughals, or I think these are the Mughals. They are now. They declare war on Persia and Bharat. Now, this is sparked from Persia basically saying that if any nation goes to war with Bharat, Persia will respond militarily unless it is the blue team, the red team, or the yellow team. And the Mughals, knowing that they would be screwed over if Persia declared war on them, goes ahead and declares war on Persia first and launches a huge surprise invasion in which countless casualties on the Persian side ensue with minimal losses for the Mughals themselves. Eventually, Persian troops are able to push back the advance a little bit. However, still quite a bit of troops right there. Then over here, we have the Bharat losing even more land until the blue team wants to respond because no, Bharat isn't a puppet of the blue team anymore. But the blue team wants that to not happen. They still respond because they're not gonna invade the Mughals themselves. They are, however, going to try and get the Mughals to stop existing some other way. Mughals very quickly make a dash over here and get as much land as possible. With both nations now just trying to get as much land as possible, the Mughals do eventually destroy the rest of Bharat, and now one of the oldest nations in the series are destroyed. Over in Persia, the country signs a kind of a treaty. It's like the Mughals stop invading, the Persians pay off the cost of the Mughals advancing into Bharat as well as into Persia, and then Mughals just be loyal to Persia. So Persia basically just gained an ally from a war against them. Yeah, Persia built different. Uh, so let's take a look at this peace treaty. We have the blue team taking out a huge piece of land. That looks okay. Then the rest goes to the Mughal. The Mughals very quickly take out this piece of land with ease, as many citizens of Bharat were kind of getting sick of the government anyway. Why? Because of their continuous losses against the blue team, which right now everyone is scared of because of the blue team's constant expansion, and because it's one of the only nations that can expand while the natives like it. And any native that is captured with treason is deported to Ethiopia or Abyssinia, I mean. Meanwhile, the blue team also really, really right now wants to control like this land kind of, and so does the red team. But that land belongs to the purple team. So now the purple team is sandwiched between two giants who both want its destruction. Back over here, though, we have this last border getting destroyed, and now the Mughals actually don't completely capture all this land. Like, they do what the red team does basically, and they make this small new portion of land, I guess, kind of, that is not really annexed fully yet. It will be soon, but not yet. Why? Because they know that one off mistake, and the government in Bharat will instantly figure out a way to make the country rebel against them, against the Mughals, and the Mughals really don't want this right now. So the Mongols play this carefully. You know who doesn't play this carefully? Persia. They never play anything carefully. Persia almost gets itself into a war with the blue team. How? So basically, during the conference, their president actually flies to the red team over here in Qatar, because that's the closest point to Persia that isn't the for the red team that isn't the actual border, which is what this is going to concern. Basically, Persia says that it should get all of this land, like something like that, so it can have a coastline on the Red Sea. Now, Persia justifies this by basically saying if they do this, then then the diplomat, which yeah, they while that diplomat was while the president was visiting Qatar, a diplomat was sent to the blue team basically saying, "Hey, what if we make a blockade over here and completely destroy this part of the red team?" And the blue team's like, "We're gonna get into a war with them, you know that, right?" And Persia's like, "We're ready for this," and the blue team's like, "Sure, why not?" Now, so when the president goes there, they're like, "Give us this land, and we'll pull that guy back, and the blue team will waste all their military supplies to make a blockade. Our part's gonna be fine, so you guys can still go through. And then since all the troops will be over there, you guys can just invade here, quickly touch that coast, as this part is gonna also be blockaded. So they quickly touch that coast, and then we will invade the Indian parts or the Mughal parts, well the Bharat parts, and then the Mughals will invade everything after Gujarat. And then we have our native friends over here in Indonesia who are willing to help invade Australia via military access, and then your colonies can invade their colonies, and then you have a small settlement here, which paired with our diplomat who we sent to the Aztecs, will be able to completely destroy the blue team. And this plan, what this plan does is it completely ruins the blue team forever, because this quick and good of a plan, the blue team is not recovering, let's just say. The blue team, if this plan works, is not recovering. Here's the one flaw with this plan. The blue team actually figures this out as they have spies in the red team that the red team did not know about. So in a symbolic move, they actually reveal that they had these spies and then proceed to declare war on Persia. The red team's like, "Hey, this was just negotiations. We're actually not involved in this, and we'll even sanction the Persians." Now, here's the thing with this, on why the strongest nation in the world doesn't want to go to war with the blue team. There's just one thing when it comes to the blue team. They are very patriotic and could probably muster, and like if the red team went in there, they would see civilians fighting alongside the military with forks and knives from their kitchen. That is the current state of the blue team. So no one really wants to go inside of the blue team because you're not going to come out. You're just not going to happen. And with this, we have the naval blockade over here with extreme taxes almost rising up by 200% over here to kind of punish the red team. And then over here we have continuous bombardments of the coast of Persia. However, no actual like gains are made, but they are at war with each other. No gains are made. Some border skirmishes, but mostly just bombardments of the coast, and the blue team preparing to capture like this area so they can blockade even more. Back over in the UK, however, we have the UK and the red team signing. Well, not the UK, the British Republic and the red team signing an agreement, and the UK grabs all of this land with the red team grabbing this land. Yep, there we go. So let's incorporate that. Yeah, no. No. This is going to be somewhat different than what I just drew because that looked horrible. So the British they get this land, and the red team, I need to make this look good. The British get that land and this land. Then the red team grabs up something like that. So let's say, yeah, this looks better, I guess. They get this land. Now, this is probably a very unfair deal to the red team. However, they only want this for better relations on their proxy, their native proxy right there. Either way, it is annexed. So, yeah. Let's. Yep. That looks not even that bad. It's fine. It looks fine. It's fine. This new thing is kind of debated if the red team wants to keep or not, and eventually for goodwill purposes, they give a part of it to their proxy just to keep the proxy a little bit more loyal. But now the proxy, if it was to ever rebel, could completely cut off the red team from going over here, which the red team's government doesn't really like, because a war with the British could happen anywhere. Like, even though they're doing all these trades, a war with the British is imminent. Like, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. The only thing the red team can do now is delay it, and the red team wants to delay it. Why? Because yeah, the red team is the strongest military powerhouse in the entire world by far. However, their overseas colonies aren't that strong. as compared to the like if we were to do military ranking, the British are like fifth or fourth. However, if we're talking, oh crap, I'm gonna have to erase this while I'm talking. If we're talking about colonies though, then the British colonies and the British support to their colonies, militarily speaking, like how much troops they have stationed in their overseas territories and colonies, easy number one spot for the British. Like they are the ones who are taking colonization the most seriously. Just like in our world, kind of, they are probably the strongest colonial empire. However, they're not even close to the strongest like country or empire in terms of economy, military stability, foreign relations, everything. They're not even close. Let me tell you, averaging out who the like best nations are. Firstly, yeah, the red team is really unstable, but that gets averaged out to not even that bad by its complete domination and everything else. So red team number one, probably followed by the blue team. Then it used to be the yellow team, but not anymore. Then probably I'd have to say, not those guys. Let's go with it's not an American nation or an African nation. I think it is the Chinese. Militarily, no, but like if we're averaging out, I guess Mughals or Persians or Chinese or the Qing. I think we'll award it to the Qing though. And then fourth is easily the Kievan Rus, and then fifth is the British. Sixth is Persia. Seventh the Nagasaki Republic, and then eighth the Mughals, which is recent. Ninth is probably the Aztecs, and then 10th, I think I'm gonna award it to yeah, Caspia, I guess. Yeah, Caspia, the Republic of Caspia, which hasn't done anything for a very long time, and it probably won't do anything for a very long time if I'm being honest. But something does happen. Africa. Nigeria, or no, what did I call these guys? I didn't call them Nigeria. Did I call them Nigeria? I don't remember what I called these guys. I'm gonna go check an old video and find. Shout out past Zillion for saying the name pretty relatively early into the video. This is the Lagos Republic. So the Lagos Republic actually bombards with catapults. Remember, all these bombardments are taking place with catapults because we're not at that advanced yet. This part, this very narrow edge of coastline, and this is followed by the complete full force of invasion to these guys. I don't remember their name. However, the Lagos Republic is about to completely destroy these guys because with the bombardments on the coastline, yeah, that such a small coastline, such a big nation. Am I right, guys? This is made even worse with the what are these guys? The Libyans, kind of. They're kind of Libya of this world because they're close to where Libya is. I know these are the 200 pumping cracked natives. Like they are insane at this. They're they can crank 90s on anyone who tries anything. But those guys and the Abyssinians, alongside the African Union, kind of all invade as well. And now the Lagos Republic is kind of annoyed because like they were gonna get all this land for themselves, and now they're not going to. Eventually, we actually have the Lagos Republic convincing the withdrawal of these two, and basically saying paying them off. However, that is followed by all that front getting turned over as well, which kind of ruins anything that these guys this team could have done. Meanwhile, the Libya ripoff is able to do very well, surprisingly, but they stop when they get over there to not offend the Lagos Republic, who then steamrolls the rest of the nation. Now, if you remember, a long time ago, I said this was this nation that the Lagos Republic was invading was a strong point of tension for Abyssinia and the African Union because both wanted to be a part of them. So now that's solved, yay. Meanwhile, Libya grabs that land just like that. Actually, no, they're gonna grab this land. I'm gonna grab all of this. Yeah, that looks clean. And with this, the Lagos Republic annexes the rest. Now, here's the thing about this annexation. One, it's probably going to be the final event taking place in this video that's really major, except for the Civil War, because guess whose king just died? Of course, the red team. Yeah, this series has been the steady decline in stability of the red team. They started off stable and the first country in the world, which I guess you can argue is why they are the strongest. Like, I mean, one of the only wars they've ever lost was their first war, which was against the blue team for the blue team independence. Like, other than that, they haven't even lost that many wars. They've not even been in a war for a long time other than against themselves. So that says a lot about the nation. Like, they don't have external enemies. Their only enemy at this point that's willing to go to war with them is themselves. Either way, though, this civil war, It's gonna start right after I incorporate this. By the way, do you guys like the new profile picture? It wasn't made on MS Paint this time. It was made on the same website I use for my thumbnails. If only my thumbnails could look that good. So, yeah, that thing took me almost a day to make, so you guys better enjoy that profile picture. So yeah, with this Civil War time, this time it's gonna begin in Qatar, where the president of these guys left. Now the reason it begins here is because during the continuous bombardments, one bomb was shot down over here, killing, and this one, well, not bombs, the catapult. Now this rock killed a fisherman, and the red team's response, and this fisherman is like a leader of all of the Qatar fishing tribes, and the red team responds by doing absolutely nothing to the blue team because they don't want to risk a war. And so, Civil War begins in Qatar, but obviously it's not going to stay in Qatar. We have the Crimean Republic, old capital almost rebelling, but that one is almost instantly crushed. That island rebels and makes a huge mess in Greece. That's going to be slightly hard to clean up. Then we have Frances, the French Republic, or the French province. Once again, finally, now this time asking for something more than semi-autonomy. They asked for full independence. They're not going to get it. I'm just going to say that right now. Spoiler. They're not going to get it. They never get it. Any of these guys could get it. They'll never get it. Morocco actually joins this and also wants semi-autonomy. Or not, instead of some full independence. They actually take after the French example. And that's what the fronts currently look like. So, firstly, in Greece, a huge mess is made. However, that doesn't mean that that one isn't the first to die. From here, Morocco actually suffers the worst, in which they lose. The king, the new heir, the new like newly crowned king, promises that when the civil war is over, Morocco will be nothing but a wasteland, void of people, which says a lot. France, meanwhile, locks down because they don't want anything to happen, or the Franco Republic. They lock down now because one, that's their new name. Two, they don't want the same fate as Morocco in case the rebels lose the war. Carthage, meanwhile, has a small little thing, but that's made peace with because the only thing that thing was wanting was not to be a part of the Carthage province, and that's granted immediately. Back over in Qatar, nothing changes. Um, Even though the Franco Republic tried locking down, their lines are eventually crushed after the British allow for naval use and landings of the Red Team troops, because they don't really want this province to become, uh, well, because if you remember, the British originally started right there where this province is, and this province was mostly like natives that lived in that little no man's land that was there. So the British, who have fought like multiple scrimmages with those natives, don't really want those natives to have their own nation, which would probably instantly be at war with the British. Then back here, Qatar finally, in exchange for justice for that fisherman, secedes, and the last few militias who were trying to take control of that rebel group are destroyed. And with this, peace. So, as the new king of the red team promised, Morocco's not going to get a good fate. Morocco is gone. Like, even as the province, it's incorporated into the bigger, like, Afro-Spanish province of the red team. Like, its semi-autonomy is lost forever. France, meanwhile, is forced to pay more taxes than most province and most semi-autonomous provinces. However, they're not completely gone yet. And then that little rebellion is just given back to the government like it wanted to be. So they get to become a part of the government again. Yeah, this is weird now because that's all Carthage, that's the government, and then that's the government again. Eventually, after much talks, the people who wanted to move are given free transportation to move. However, that province is officially destroyed. And then, for the death of that fisherman, a bombardment is launched. Well, first a memorial in which they go ahead and go to the purple team, blow a bunch of stuff up. From there, the life that were died to mourn them, they go to the purple team and blow a bunch of stuff up. And then, lastly, for fun, they go to the purple team and blow a bunch of stuff up. Then, in retaliation to the blue team, sanctions are launched as well as a bombardment of a small military, well, catapulting of a small military boat transporting around 5 to 10 soldiers, as well as the heavy destruction of a bunch of small villages there by just lighting them on fire. Now the people are finally calm. Now you might be thinking that's a crazy thing to do for only one person. It's not only one person. It's also to honor all the people who died in that civil war. Um, Back here, these guys and the yellow team's possession and Grand Colombia, they're really friendly towards each other now. And the yellow team's position is like, give us independence so we can join Grand Colombia. And the yellow team is like, no. So, civil war, kind of. Well, these guys rebel. Instantly, after them proclaiming independence, two nations instantly recognize them. We're Grand Colombia, obviously, and the red team. This recognition is followed by the British recognition as well as the Aztec recognition. And the red team basically helps even more by declaring all-out war on the red team. And, well, no, they say that these guys are under the protection of the red team, and the yellow team responds by the small base they had over here, launching a full-on front, which not only is crushed, the red team actually responds to with the complete annihilation of the yellow team's coastline on the Black Sea, as they're basically like, how dare you? We said they were under our protection, yet you continue to mess around with them. And at first the yellow team is like, okay, it's just a small occupation. The red team will eventually get lost. No. They did not let that one slide. They instantly like just occupy that. And then the yellow team's like to the red team, okay, how about this? We give them independence officially, and you give us back the land you're occupying. And the red team's like, sure, why not? With that is the last thing that happens today. This country is given independence, instantly annexed by Grand Colombia, like the country wanted to be. And with this, we have the peace treaty. That is the peace treaty. Grand Colombia looking pretty big. Looking like Grand Colombia. Looking like my perception of Grand Colombia, at least. This video I know is a little bit longer than usual. Thank you for watching, though. Like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed. Go watch another video in the series.